Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Welcome to Bad Culture Crew, the premier source for the terrible. We're so glad you've joined our journey into this week's best of the worst media. Please take a moment to get comfortable, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, and prepare for some hilarious fucking bad. This is Bad Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Presenting your hosts, Austin Daniels and Steve Nevels.
Thank you so much, Wendy. This certainly is the Bad Culture Crew. We do find the terrible, so you don't have to. My name is Austin Daniels. I am sitting alongside hamburger opera singer Steve Nevels. Give us a little ditty.
Oh, cheeseburgers with mayonnaise and
Mayonnaise?
cheeseburgers and mayonnaise and mustard
Why are you Southern?
with a little bit of icky pickles. Fucking disgusting pickles.
Was that part of the song?
Oh, that was part of it. That was it. That was like my solo.
That was the worst
From the,
opera
pretty good.
I've heard.
You didn't like icky pickles?
Opera sucks.
No. The name of the song was called Icky Pickles. Icky Pickles. Sitting on my...
When you do opera, don't
Tastes
you have to go
like Dickie Pickle.
like that's how you do opera. You couldn't
don't
even
know.
fake do an opera.
No, I was
You
totally...
were, like,
I was
doing it-
Broadway. It was a Broadway production.
I'm sorry.
The whole thing.
Yeah, no Tony for you,
Icky
my
Pickles
friend.
like Dicky Pickles. Yep.
Yeah,
Stick a dick in your mouth instead.
How'd you feel about the Hamburger Helper?
I loved the Hamburger Helper.
I only listened to parts of it.
I listened to... what was that one?
There's 5 songs.
Yeah, Stove something.
Yeah.
Hot off the stove.
Something like that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That
I
was
dug
the
it.
thing.
It was better than any like Bieber album I've ever heard.
Well-
and I've heard them all.
Of course, if you record like yourself taking a dump, better than a Justin Bieber album.
Really?
Yes.
Because I've actually done that a couple times.
Yeah.
So I should just play that on a loop.
It's better than Bieber.
Next radio hit.
I'd rather hear that. I'd rather hear fart noises coming out of your butthole than listen to Justin Bieber.
A little squeaker. It's pretty
But
sweet.
except for Baby. Because that's okay.
And you like that baby song?
Yes.
That reminds me.
Baby,
of
baby, baby. Oh,
That
that's
song reminds me of the worst
Jesus.
dump that I ever took in my life.
you were like baby.
I'm like clenching
kind of
the
a-
wall, and I'm like, oh baby.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were gonna go in some weird, strange, erotic direction.
No, it's like I've never pooped on anybody. If that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. What is that? We talked about that like a long time ago. Why is that a thing? What's up with that?
I don't know.
That's
And
a thing.
for
You guys
anybody
into that?
For anybody that's unaware, it's still a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It's not good.
Everybody's gross.
Everybody's disgusting. You're all disgusting human beings, but we're so glad that you're here.
Yes. Yes. I'm
So,
glad you're here, Steve.
Turn your operas off, or turn them down at least,
Okay.
so that you can hear our annoying voices over top of it.
Still better. I feel like that's what it is. It's a lot of theatrics when you're singing opera.
Cheeseburger mayonnaise.
That's what I was
Yes,
waiting for.
Jim.
You were singing like some country sing.
Icky pickle.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. Good thing
Sits
you
on my-
don't sing.
Dicky pickle.
You know? Steve
The
Nevels.
outro, the Dicky pickle. Yeah.
We do a show every
Oh
week.
God, are you serious? I forgot the show again.
Every week.
Okay.
Therapy session this week. I'm going to take over. The topic is exposed. Whatever that means.
I mean, like northern exposure. Like
I'm assuming.
being out in the elements without a sweater.
Wendy makes these things very
So they're very,
Very
generic.
vague.
Yeah, they're very vague and
Very vague.
generic.
And the reason she does that, so we can tease, so you have to listen to the whole thing. So if it's a topic you don't like, you have to
But too
find out
bad
what it
because
is.
you got to sit and wait. Unless you just keep pressing the fast forward button, which is what I do through most of our episodes.
Yeah. Well, when you have to edit it, it's like you don't care about it
Yeah,
anymore.
you just can turn the sound off and zone out. It's fine. Just
I have to listen
keep
to
pressing
the
the
show.
buttons. You're
Well,
fine.
Before we started doing YouTube casts, I used to listen to each episode like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And
Now you just
we're
listen to
on-
it once.
We're on
right?
episode 49, okay?
This is episode 49 for those of you that are keeping track and can't read in the title. The 49th
Yeah.
one of these that we're doing.
And now I'm like, because of the YouTube thing that I edit, I already have to listen to it over and because I have to like sync everything up. I'm like, I'm sick of hearing our voices.
Tell you what to sync up.
How did we last this long? Anyways, back in the day, Steve, you're going to talk about video power.
Video power.
Now sing it opera style.
Yeah.
Video power. It's
the same thing.
Not video power.
Anyway, yes, back in the day, Video Power, if anybody doesn't remember, back in 1990, October, I think it was October of 1990, this amazing new show came on, I think it was Fox that aired it.
I don't know. I didn't do the research
But,
on it.
yeah, it was a really great show back in the 90s. It was the very first interactive video game show. Before the age of the internet, you actually had to go to all like these alternate sources to find great video game tips, reviews, and ultimately it became a game show. But anyway, we'll get into all that in the back in the day segment.
Yes, sir. Pick a side this week. Who's in a fight this week? We got Susan Sarandon versus Deborah Messing.
Yeah, this is the one that I did the least amount of research. I actually don't even know what this is about.
Oh, it's about the election because we need actresses to weigh in.
Perfect.
So we got to pick a
my
side.
favorite subject.
Make it weird, Steve. You're going to talk about kids getting tattoos. That doesn't seem that weird. A lot of kids get tattoos.
Apparently, like, I don't know. To me nowadays, like 19 to 20-year-olds are kids, But these kids are actually a little bit younger than that.
They're 17.
They ended up getting some tattoos. I'm not going to disclose too much more than that. Do you think it's about, like, inappropriate tattoos or what?
We'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. Make it weird.
You're going to end the show, Steve. Parents financially supporting their kids.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming that I've been meaning to talk about this on the show.
No.
It's not just, every parent has to financially support their kid. Yes, Wendy has it labeled a little wrong here on the rundown.
Well, I can only fit
parents.
Hold on a second. When Steve submits this stuff to me, okay, Wendy actually doesn't do anything.
Yes, she does. She makes the rundown.
Submits it to me, and then it's like the topic is like a paragraph.
My topics are always very topical,
like,
and
you have to fit it in this tiny box.
See, he doesn't understand that there are different font sizes that you can use.
No.
He just
this
has
needs to be 14.
Has to be.
We're blind.
That.
Okay. I don't want to sit there and like.
No, what I'm
support. I can't.
Now, what I'm
read like
saying
that.
is,
right.
the segment is actually parents who financially support their adult children. These are people who are old enough to fucking take care of themselves, but their parents still pay for everything for them. They may still live at home. They may pay their car insurance or their phone bill, or let them live at home for free, buy them food and groceries, and they don't pay for anything, but they have full-time jobs. We're going to talk all about that in the last word.
We certainly will. We're going to do some opera, I'm sure, many times in this show. Like that. What was that? What, E flat? What? I don't even know.
Pickles on my dick.
What? What?
Dick pickle.
What kind of stuff are you into?
I have no idea. I'm just saying Dicky Pickle.
All right, before we get into all that, it's time for the Bad Culture Commentary.
Culture commentary.
One of the lessons the internet has taught me throughout the course of this roller coaster of an election is that the internet loves Bernie Sanders. Almost everybody loves Bernie, honestly. Susan Sarandon loves him. Cute Little Birds love him. Beats by Dre love him. But the internet loves him most of all. So when Hillary Clinton declined to debate Sanders for a debate in New York, the internet was there to defend their man. Clinton's team rationale was that the tone has changed, whatever that means. Too much negative ads or something, I don't know. Regardless, the internet didn't like that very much. They were quick to defend Sanders, inspiring the hashtag tone down for what? In hopes of telling the Clinton camp that their rationale is nonsense, and even inspired Sarah Silverman to get on YouTube to tell us to go vote for Sanders and accurately, quote unquote, tell us about socialism because everybody was so anxiously awaiting for her to weigh in. But the internet is right. What kind of rationale is that? I get why Clinton doesn't want to debate Sanders. It's not worth the risk. So maybe next time, come up with a better excuse. Like, hey, there's been about 6,000 debates. Why do we need another one? Work for Donald Trump? So Grandma Hillary, let's play ball a little nicer next time. You're going to win the nomination, but not the internet, spelled with a lowercase, by the way. And that's my Bad Culture Commentary.
So what exactly was his tone when he said, "You will fight me on the center stage in New York"? this upcoming Friday.
I believe he said, "Bitch, get your fat old ass on the stage."
I'm
for a
all
punch.
for hearing. How old is he? 74-year-old Bernie?
No. 704, I believe.
704.
He
yeah.
is older than Albus Dumbledore.
If he said
Gandalf
"Listen,"
combined.
he said, "Listen here, you fat, disgusting cow. You will get behind this podium and you will answer the questions put forth hence." And I'm like,
Put forth hence.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's
Put forth hence.
I guess that's how Bernie talks.
Yeah, he just in the Jewish.
I've never watched a single debate, so I have no idea how these people.
You watched
talk.
one. You watched one forcibly.
It was on in the room that I was in. Yes, I'm not going to dispute that. But
Yeah.
so she doesn't appreciate his tone, so she's not going to get on stage and answer questions that are pertinent to her campaign.
Yes.
That's basically what this is about.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, fine.
The internet.
Fine.
Yeah.
You don't.
Do you think there's been too many debates?
I don't know how many there's been. As far as I know, there was one.
6,000 about.
Oh, there were 6,000?
Yeah, about.
We can go with another
Give
one.
or take.
You know,
601, 6,001.
6,001 is probably the cutoff.
Okay.
I wouldn't go beyond
So
that.
we're borderline too many debates. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're on the cusp.
I feel like these debates have like it's the same thing over and over. It's like, okay, I've heard these questions. I know how they're going to answer.
I was going to say,
you know?
well, I mean, what does it matter what city they're debating in if it's the same debate over and over again? Like, because they're all televised, right?
Well, yeah, but because
Okay, they're all televised, so we can all see them just regurgitating the same
But
answers.
New York is voting next for them, so
Okay.
he wants to try to steal New York, even though he's not going to win New York. Hillary's going to win it. That's her home state. She's going to win.
So she says, "Wait, I'm going to win this if I don't open my mouth."
Yeah.
So what's her plan of attack? Should she win? Well, I mean, she's going to win the nomination,
Yeah,
but
right.
should she actually win the presidency? Is her plan of action go? Just don't say anything.
Basically, because
Perfect.
people are wondering, is she going to debate Trump when those two go head to head?
She's going to have to.
Yeah. Well, she might
There's
decline.
no you don't have a choice.
You cannot go.
Okay, well, you know how that was going to look?
Oh, it's going to look pretty
It's going to
bad.
look like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, even when she goes, it looks like she doesn't know what she's talking about.
She's a good debater. She said, "May the force be with you." That was cool.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Man.
She's down with the kids.
Tapping into our niche, the fandom that is Star Wars. Nope, I thought that was fucking stupid.
She gets up there and she's like, episode 1 was one of the greatest. I mean, episode 5 was one of the
6. How many were there? And she turns back to somebody. She's like, there were 8.
I
There's
love
not 8 yet.
the Star Wars Christmas. No, wait a minute. We pretend that didn't exist.
I don't even know what what's my name?
Yeah. Anyways, don't fight Bernie. Internet will. If you go after Bernie bad, internet's gonna get you. They're gonna get you.
I love that there is such an uprising. Like anytime,
Internet loves them.
Anytime something like this happens, yeah, Bernie's got the internet in his corner, and at the end of the day, that's really all you need.
Yeah, because then
you
it's
don't
funnier.
need like big fancy backers from Wall Street, and you don't need people
You don't
paying
need the
you
big
$500,000 for every fucking a thing that you go and you present and you do your keynote speaking. It's like, no, all you need is Twitter and Facebook and a couple of articles on Yahoo, and
the way our founding fathers would have loved it. Get on Yahoo. Get on Twitch. That's how you got to do it.
all done.
Steve, let's move on with the show because I'm sure we're gonna talk more about the election.
I'm sure that like
wasn't that bad,
somewhere I'm not done talking about how great Bernie is.
You love Bernie. You're
I'm
feeling
a Burn man, but
feeling
you
that
know,
burn.
at the end of the day, like I said, you can win the internet as much as you want. You're not going to win.
You can't
the fucking
vote on the
nomination.
internet. Well, the reason the internet works so well is because when you vote for people on the internet, you can vote like 1,000 times.
Right.
You know? So what I'm saying?
I just keep creating Twitter accounts and keep liking the hashtag.
There you go. Look at all these followers.
Fantastic.
It's like 6 people.
It is because I got tired of creating emails.
Steve.
Every time you go through that email process, just
hate
you're
that.
like, oh my god, this is so exhausting.
Can I pause for a moment? Last night I was trying
Pause
to look
for
up.
1 second.
I was trying to look up some stuff on Yahoo because I have some money in the NCAA tournament going on now.
What, you got $5 in there?
No, I'm gonna win either way because in one pool I could win
'Cause
if,
you've rigged
if
it.
I win one pool, I'll
You're
lose the other. If I lose one pool, I'll win the other one. It's vice versa. So I was trying to look this up on Yahoo, but they kept saying you put in your email, and I'm like, I type it in, it doesn't working. And I was like, so then I typed in my username.
doesn't working.
Wouldn't do
I
it,
like
so I
it.
had to put my username with some fake email. It was nonsense. I don't know.
You created a fake email just so that you can win a pool.
Well, it's an email. I just wanted my user. I know what my username was. It wasn't asking for that. I just wanted a username and password thing. They didn't have that set up.
Username
Yahoo.
and password, SlinkyBoobs44.
That's what it is. My password was Superman, or
Well, because
1, 2,
that's
3,
what
4, 5, 6.
That's how I've been emailing you for the last 2 years. SlinkyBoobs44. Have you been getting my message?
Not me, man.
Shit.
Who are you talking to?
Somebody's responding. Maybe.
Why would you think?
Maybe it's
me?
Wendy. What? That's why the rundown's always fucked up.
He's a bitch.
God.
Steve, that's enough of that. Anyways, go to badculturecrewproductions.com. Go to the @Bat Culture Crew. Tell us what you think.
Bat Culture Crew. All right. Well, we could do that.
I don't know. Bat Culture, where it's about bats.
if you go
it's
there-
all about bats. Perverted bat pictures. You want that
Batman
shit?
will respond if you go to Bat Culture Crew.
He's too busy crying
on
over his
Twitter.
last movie. Did you see how much it dipped?
Yeah.
Jesus
68%
Christ.
down from opening weekend to this weekend, Batman vs. Superman.
Deadpool
so if you haven't
snickering.
seen it, you're probably not going to. Not in the theater anyway, because nobody else did.
I don't know. If it's still in the theater by the end of the month, I'm going to go.
It's not going to be. If it dipped that much in just 1 week, they're going to give it a 2-more-week run. Pull it.
Wow.
They're going to be pulling it all right.
Oh,
Speaking of pulling it,
yes, yes. The next segment involves pulling it. It's the therapy session.
Therapy sesh.
All right. So let's see where I get this.
let's talk about pulling it a little bit more.
Well, let's save some for the viewers. Save some pulling it for the viewers. Literally.
I'm ready.
The topic is exposed. This is from Dear Prudence. We've used her before.
Yeah, she's all used up.
All right. Here's the question. Boyfriend on display. I've been dating a terrific guy, Jason, for about 5 months now. We're both dudes, if it matters.
Yes, it does. Gay. This is gay. Continue. No, I just had to point that out.
Yeah. He's everything I've been looking for, but there's a problem. He has an Xtube page up. I introduced him to my friend Bob.
That's me.
No. You're the guy writing in, I presume.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gay.
Yeah, well, you're pretty gay. I introduced him to my friend Bob, who is an avid watcher of online porn. So that would kind of be me, actually.
I was going to say, that's more you.
Yeah, that's true. Bob later told me about the page and then sent me the link to it. I made Bob promise not to tell anyone. He's a great friend, and I'm not worried about him spreading the word.
Well, how do I know about it then?
Even though we're writing in so everybody can find out.
This guy's spreading the word more than Bob.
Yeah, he's good, putting his boyfriend on blast. Basically, it's 9 videos of Jason masturbating with his face showing in a few of them. I was mortified seeing the videos and cried privately, not publicly.
Why wouldn't he cry publicly?
He didn't go out on the mountaintops and cry. Okay.
I'm very confused about the way that this is. Keep going.
I don't know what to do. This is the best relationship I've been in years. Jason is attentive and caring and is interested in taking our union further, but I don't know if I can ever trust him. I'm not interested in having a boyfriend whose naughty bits are on display for the whole world to see. If it matters, he apparently hasn't logged on or uploaded any new videos to his porn page in over a year. What should you do about this with your boyfriend, Steve?
Yep.
What do
Okay.
you-
I've got the answer. It's very simple. Obviously, he's uploading them somewhere else because who the fuck uses Xtube anymore? So that's your problem. He hasn't logged into that page in over a year because he's on Pornhub, dude. Nobody's used Xtube since like 2012. So this guy was
I'm
already
thinking of
late to
X videos.
So this guy, we already know, isn't very technologically savvy.
Well, okay.
Okay. So that already puts him in the negative for me. Second of all, you never trust a guy who's going to masturbate on camera, but only show his face a few of the times.
You want it all the time?
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to
Full
show
on?
your face, like, what's he doing the rest of the time? Just turn his back, turn his head 180 degrees like an
Well,
owl?
it depends on how the camera's set up, and you gotta you could be jostling a bit down there when you're masturbating. Or I'm assuming he's not a sit-still masturbator.
I'm trying to picture this because
Yeah, let's
I
try to
don't watch.
picture
I
this.
don't watch enough gay porn on the internet.
Not enough. I do
Are
all
we
the time.
saying that a few of the times there's like a full body shot and he's sitting there tugging it, and then the other times out of these 9 videos, like so, let's say a few times it's 3. So 6 of the other videos is just this close up of this dick and this hand just going back and forth.
I don't know. Maybe he's like holding the camera. Maybe he's doing like a selfie style thing.
Do you think he got his
like
abs
this.
in the shot?
So
It's
he's-
just him and his abs and his dick.
Well, how would you not? I mean, if you got the dick going and then your abs are right above it, like my really non-abs that I have, you kind of that's what you want to show off. You got to show.
I'm
off
also
those.
starting to think if this guy is on X tubes, maybe he doesn't have any abs. Maybe it's more like a flat tire, like a gut
Nah.
that like hangs.
All gay people have abs.
all is that.
No.
You're gonna go on record and say that?
No, that's not true. I know a lot of fat gays.
I was just know a lot of fat gay people. Okay,
they're
so
fabulous, too.
let's get to the point.
Let's get to the point.
What should I
What should you do, Steve, about your
All right,
boyfriend, Jason?
so I mean,
I'm Bob.
Where does the trust issue come in of a guy that's stroking his own dick?
That's what she said. She was like,
That's what she said.
She was like, I don't see how that correlates to trust issues. I don't have it right here, but I read it. And she was like, I don't see, but you probably should bring it up to the guy. But we're going to
Make sure that you cry in his face as you bring this up because this guy's such a whiner. And by the way, be sure to thank Bob for keeping your secret because you just put it out on the internet for everybody to read.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to Xtube as soon as the show's over, and I'm going to search for Jason.
I'm curious about what Bob thinks of this. Is Bob gay? Is he into watching his the friend's boyfriend's jerking?
Isn't Bob the one that I introduced him to my friend Bob, who watches?
Bob's like, I know you from somewhere.
Who's an avid watcher of online porn, so we can assume that Bob watches a lot of gay porn, or he would never brought it up.
Oh yeah, so he is a gay guy. Maybe it was a girl named Bob.
You know, every gay person, all their friends are gay. I mean, that's a true statement.
Yeah,
too.
they all come from like Gaytopia, right? And they
Right.
all like hang out and then they
All
masturbate
from
and they
one
send
place.
videos. That's all.
and they all
accurate.
just sit around and touch each other's wieners.
Yeah.
We know this.
This is all.
This is all fact, and it can be backed up with the same people that support Donald Trump on the internet.
Gay people support. We're
Look,
gays for Trump.
We love gay people. This is a terrible segment.
We're terrible.
We're-
But this
we're-
is weird.
we're
This is-
terrible people.
Now, what would you do though if you heard about this? Like,
This is funny. I knew a girl when I was like 19 years old who was dating this guy, and a video of her masturbating ended up on RedTube somehow.
oh,
And it was just her fucking, pulling it, in
really-
the female
I don't think
version
they
of
call
pulling
it
it.
pulling it.
Yeah.
more like DJing,
Pushing it. Okay.
like DJing
So
it.
she's there on fucking RedTube pushing
Flicking it.
And everybody
Pushing it.
everybody in this town that I lived in got wind of it within
Oh, sure.
2 hours.
Oh, sure.
And everybody is sitting there. And the guy got so fucking furious that he broke up with her.
Why?
I don't know how. First of all, I don't know how because it was shot on a webcam. I'm assuming just like this guy's.
Oh.
It was shot on a webcam. I don't know how it got uploaded. Like I don't know if she did it. It would be kind of dumb. Like she's in a relationship now, right?
Yeah,
And she goes ahead and uploads this
Now,
video
that's
to like the
weird.
public.
that's weird.
This says I've been dating this guy for 5 months. There's been no activity on his page for a year.
So this
what
was-
the fuck
this is
are
all
you-
in the past.
This is all in the past, and it's also like 6 months before he stopped doing it. 6 months before you met him.
Right.
So I don't understand the whole trust thing. Like he's done with it unless, like I said at the beginning, he's moved on to bigger and better things. Maybe he's on a site now that he actually gets paid for. Maybe it's paid to jerk it now.
Then that's
Which
a whole
would
other
be
thing.
which would be my strategy. If I'm gonna
Nobody
jerk
wants
it,
to watch you jerk
If I'm gonna jerk in front of a camera, I'm gonna get paid $100.
You have 3 cameras here. I'll pay you nothing.
Oh, nothing. Forget it.
No, you should pay people to watch you jerk
I
off.
probably
That's how
I actually
gross it
have a
is.
couple times. So it's,
Please just watch me. And you're crying.
and I'm
giving
just
out 20s.
I'm lubricating my dick with my own tears, and it's a very sad scene.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fine.
In seriousness, it's not a trust issue.
It's not a trust issue.
Obviously, you're right. Have the
You
conversation.
This guy is way too hormonal and needs to just fucking calm down for a minute and think and really rationalize what he's saying.
Now, maybe you could also look at this video and say, "Hey, learn some tips." You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not jerking him off the right way.
And the next thing you know, you're going to become his favorite lover
Yeah.
because you took the time to learn the technique that he likes
Yeah.
the best, and you know it's going to work because you've seen him do it.
Silver lining right there.
Very easy, simple, and very useful. I think very useful. Very useful use. I'm gonna, just like
Useful
you said,
use, yes. Yeah, use it as
in
educational
years.
purposes. This could be a good thing. Anyways, what do you?
Actually, I think you struck a gold mine here, sir.
Yeah. Come on, guy.
Tell us what you think. Is this guy a pervert for jerking it in front of a camera?
But is his dick long enough? That's not the thing. Is it as long as Donald Trump's?
Probably. It's probably massive.
Huge. Yeah. So,
It's huge.
anyways, yes, get on there. Get on the Bad Culture Crew. Tell us what you think. What this person should do, but make it funny and irrational and gay, because that's what it
Yeah.
all is.
Because that's what they like.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, moving along a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on.
Hey, do you guys remember Video Power?
Back in the day,
if you don't,
I didn't watch it.
let me tell you.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, which I have pulled up on my computer screen here.
Oh, great. I can see the back of your computer
Video
screen.
Power is an American television series that aired 2 different formats in the years 1990 and 91 in syndication. Both formats revolved around the video games, and there was this guy named Sylvie Prokowski.
That's
Probably
a name?
mispronouncing his name completely.
Sylvie Prokowski. What is that,
Who
French?
portrayed the character Johnny Arcade on the series. It was really the first time television dove into the world of video games, and it was really this was around the same time that Nintendo Power was coming out. It was like the first run of issues for the magazine that gave you all the juicy details about new upcoming Nintendo games and maps for different games, cheats, hints, anything that could help you achieve victory in the early days of Nintendo. But this was obviously in a video format, which, today would be completely worthless because we have YouTube. Now, the show did run in, like the article said, 2 different formats. And the first year, which they called Season 1, which, is bizarre because I don't really look at older TV shows like that.
Oh, I do.
It's hard to. It's hard to remember because everything was so long back then.
They still had the same-ish time frame. They didn't take any weird breaks or anything.
It's just,
had more episodes.
I feel like we look at TV seasons much differently now.
Well, of course, it's
than
a
we
lot
did
more
back then.
truncated.
But anyway, in Season 1, the show revolved around Johnny Arcade, who would come into this awesome little, what I would consider like a boy cave, like a man cave.
Yeah, but for little boys.
Well, for little boys, with a TV, a big CRT TV.
Webcam for you to jerk off in front of and piss off your
Perfect.
gay friends.
All of his video game consoles, and he would introduce the show, tell us about what we're going to see. He would start the show with a video Power Edge, which was the tip of the day. So he would pick like a random Nintendo game, like a fairly recent game, and he would give you like a hint about how to get past a tough boss, or maybe like a secret that you didn't know. Usually, now I've watched a bunch of episodes of this show, and they were always like really fucking cheesy hints. Like in one of the very first episodes, he did a hint on the boy and his blob.
Oh, good game. Getting remade again.
A very good game. And he told you about how to get like the magical key in this certain level. And he's like, all you have to do is just feed your blob this. And then you jump on him and
Isn't
you
that
get the key.
the
It's
whole
like
game?
That's the point of the game. Like the hints were sort of like that, but
All you have to do is press right and you will go right.
in the early days of video gaming, that was an actual tip that people were like, oh, this is very informative. Thank you. And then the rest of the show revolved around this cartoon that Johnny Arcade introduced called The Power Team.
Yeah, this is...
The Power Team is a pretty strange anomaly for the early 90s.
I'm going to stop you at one point when you get to a certain point.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
It basically revolved around a group of, they call them superheroes, from different video games.
And weren't actually video games.
They were never actually video games. Yeah, they're sort of a made-up world of video games. And all these heroes come together to stop the infamous Mr. Big.
From Sex and the City.
Yes, Mr.
The
Big
exact
from Sex
same
and
one.
the
The one that...
Same guy.
Carrie Bradshaw was
Same
fucking...
voice.
Didn't look anything like it. Mr. Big was like this fat, pudgy guy.
But it's funny because there are so many Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. The bad guy in that game is Mr. Big.
That's right.
But Moonwalker didn't come out until after this show started airing. So, in all fairness, the Power Team beat him to it.
Wow, yeah,
You know.
that's great.
But anyway, each episode revolved around the Power Team having to thwart Mr. Big's evil plan. Now, the members of the Power Team were a tomato.
yeah. What is that?
He's a tomato. What's his name?
Quarky or something?
Quark the tomato.
Quark the tomato.
Bigfoot the monster truck. He's a character.
But he's like controlled by this kid in this like computer.
He's really like his voice doesn't match him at all.
well, because he's like, hey there, I'm he's like
and
a teenage boy.
I'm picturing like this
Yeah.
big
oh, he's like, well, hey
Bigfoot
there,
voice.
guy, we'll get them.
Yeah. You have a basketball player.
Who is basically a black guy.
He's like he's like this stereotypical, like, I'm a jock and I'm a dumbass basketball player.
I love him. And he's like, his power is play basketball.
He can throw a basketball at you. And I remember in the episode that I'm talking about, like the very first episode of the show, he throws the basketball at Mr. Big and knocks his gun out of his hand. And the basketball acts like a boomerang and comes back to him.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
And I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
There's a scene where the basketball like goes under Mr. Big. Like he first throws it. Mr. Big could have stood there, but no, Mr. Big jumps in the air for some reason. So the basketball goes underneath, and then he starts rolling around in the basketball and falls on his back. And I'm like,
it's so
and
weird.
The basketball like boomerangs back to him somehow.
There is another. There's a couple more characters. There's a warrior from like this. Medieval game that kind of looks like it's like a He-Man ripoff almost. And I'm trying to think of the other.
There's like this just guy with black hair.
There is just a guy with black hair. I'm not really sure what his role was.
I don't know. He's supposed to be the normal one, but I don't know what he does.
But the format of the show is basically we're watching this cartoon, and then it cuts back to Johnny Arcade on his couch, and he's like, wow, this is getting exciting. Well, let's see what happens next. We'll be right back after these messages. And it goes to commercial.
Right.
It comes back. Johnny reintroduces what's going on. We go back to the cartoon. And the cartoon takes like 26 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
And then he's done watching it. He goes, wow, that was a great episode, huh? And then he goes back to his chair. He gives you another like 30-second tip of a game. And then he goes, come back tomorrow. And the show's over.
So this was on every day?
It was on Monday through Friday.
Wow, that's a lot.
Every day of the week.
Jeez.
Well, that's why there were so many. I think there ended up being like 30 episodes of the Power Team.
Wow.
There was 30-minute cartoons that ended up getting made. But anyway, the first season ends, and then when it comes back in the second season, it's a whole new show under the same title, Video Power, and it has this really awesome 90s Video Power, theme song and shit with blaring guitars and synth machines and shit. And it actually has become a game show similar to
Nick Arcade.
To Nick Arcade, but it was a more archaic version of Nick Arcade.
Yeah,
because
I watched a lot of Nick Arcade.
Nick Arcade is the one that most people are familiar with, and this sort of predated that. It was like the first run at seeing if a video game TV show was, if there was a market for it, which obviously they found out that there was.
Right.
But anyway, the way that this show, the second season, broke down was Johnny Arcade comes out. He gives his Video Power edge right there at the beginning of the show, just like he did in the first season. Tells you a little tip about the latest game. And then they played a game with the audience members called Johnny on the Spot.
Yeah, I got some questions about this.
Yeah, Johnny on the Spot. So these kids would have these questions, and they could basically ask the host, Johnny Arcade, any question about any game that they wanted to, and if he didn't get it right, they got a prize. They got like a video game.
Now the question for me is like, his answers were always like these clever, weird, whimsical rhymes. So like, was he fed these questions beforehand?
It seems like he was preemptively given the question.
Yeah, it had to be, because he's like, he would like do a haiku and answer it, and I'm like,
now you could tell that he was in a completely different studio. Like, it almost looked like the answers were pre-recorded.
Yeah, had to
I
be.
don't feel like they were live.
It can't be.
Because when the kids were asking the questions, it looked like they were really thinking about the question. Like, it almost as if they were coming up with it off the top of their head. But then he answers so quick.
Yeah.
So, and some of the questions are very loose.
Right.
Like,
they're not even that like big stumper questions.
Yeah, one of the questions.
Like, how do you beat this boss? Well,
I remember a lot of the questions that I saw from like some of the earlier episodes are all about Maniac Mansion. And he knows every answer to every question about Maniac Mansion. And they're very tough questions too. Like if you never beat the game, like one person asked him, how do you find the secret code to get into the safe? Somebody asked him, how do you get into the basement of the house? And they're very like detailed things and he answers them very detailed.
Yeah.
And at that point, I would be like, well, maybe you should stop asking him Maniac Mansion questions because he's obviously beaten it multiple times.
Yeah.
But then there were other questions that kids would ask him, like, in what game does one of the characters play golf? That was a question that a kid asked him. And the answer was DuckTales. Because if you are in the Himalayas stage in DuckTales and you knock down this secret box, Scrooge McDuck will actually use his cane like a golf club. And you knock down this fruit from a tree and that turns into a diamond, and you can collect this secret diamond. That was the answer. How you could deduce what game he was talking about based on that question blows my mind.
Right. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, Mario played it, and like,
but you have to think. I mean, this predates a lot of.
But
the
then
games
there was
you're
also
thinking
just
of.
a game called Golf, where you played golf,
right? Where that seems like it's too
with a Mario-looking character.
But that's just too easy of an answer. Like, I guess this is the game the kid had in mind. You know,
even though DuckTales was like one of like Manic Mansion was one of those games that had the same exact.
Well, I mean,
that came up a lot too.
But here's the thing: like, you could play a game like that with somebody back in the day, like that.
Yeah.
Because there weren't that many games.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, they did ask him a lot of questions about, like, Ninja Gaiden 2. And now that's a bigger game. There's a lot of questions that you could ask about that game. But, I mean, something like DuckTales, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, a lot of the Disney games, they're pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And if you had any sort of brain whatsoever, you know, you could pretty much figure it out. One kid asked him a question about Super Mario 3 in one episode, and I was like, why would you ever ask him that? He's going to know that.
Yeah.
You know,
it had to be rigged.
pick a very...
Because the way he answered the questions was so...
They were so
scripted.
methodical. Like, they were very
so
well thought out.
Scripted. Yeah. I don't buy you.
So anyway, he would get 4 questions from the audience, and then the people that asked him the questions, the 4 kids that asked questions, would then come down, and they would move into this round, which was the gameplay round. And they would pick the game of the week. You know, one episode I saw was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. One episode was Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Saw Battletoads.
One of them, Battletoads, Skate or Die 2 was on the show. And basically, the kids were playing for high score. And the 2 highest scores moved on to the trivia round. And Johnny Arcade would stand and ask the kids questions, video game related questions. Mm-hmm. And most of the trivia rounds that I saw, that if you ever find an episode, you can find episodes of this show on YouTube. Somebody did upload a good deal of them.
Right.
And they're actually pretty good quality for it never have being released anywhere.
You're going to have to zoom through some of the commercials.
This is just somebody's VHS collection that they uploaded.
Right.
It's very cool. But anyway, if you watch some of the trivia rounds, these kids are fucking morons. Like, for as much as they say they know about video games, and a lot of the questions he asks them relate to the game that was in the game round. And they're like, yeah, it's like my favorite game. And he like asks some pretty simple questions. He's like, what color is Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And the kids don't know the answer. And I'm like, you were just playing it. We're not playing on black and white TVs.
Yeah.
One question that I did see that sticks out that I remember from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode was, put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles names in alphabetical order from first to last.
Okay.
And the one kid buzzes in and says, Leonardo.
Oh, already wrong.
Right. Already wrong. And I'm like,
Donatello. Leonardo.
Raphael. You only needed to know the first and the last.
Oh, first you didn't have to go through the
You
whole
didn't have to go through all 4. Yeah. You just had to put them, and neither one of the kids got it right. And I was
know
like,
the alphabet?
I guess they didn't know the alphabet, but that could mean that they didn't know their names. And I'm like,
I did not know
you're
their
telling
names.
me that this is your favorite game.
I think my mom could know those names.
But anyway, after the trivia round, the winner of that goes on to the final round, which is the shopping round. And they had this giant, it almost looked like an old, they don't have stores like this anymore. Like everything's now like GameStop. But it's basically set up like an old video rental store.
Yeah.
And they have boxes, Nintendo boxes all over the place. Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega games plastered all over the place. And it's the kid's job to collect as many games as possible. But there's one special game that he has to be able to find for it to count. And every week every episode it's a different game. And if you don't get that, well, you don't win your prizes. So you have to, and you only get like 45 seconds. It's not very long. But everything's kind of like confined. It's a pretty small space. But you got to remember, like, it's a kid, and there literally are hundreds of things like posted on the walls. So it can be tough, to find it. And if you got the correct game, you would slide down this slide, and you were awarded all the games that you collected.
Cool.
And that was pretty much I thought that was a really cool show.
Yeah, that's cool for kids. I mean, it's 90s as hell. I didn't watch it because
It's so super fucking 90s.
It was just slightly before my time. Just slightly.
I remember watching this when I was 7 years old.
Yeah, and the weird thing for me is that I didn't grow up with a lot of video games. So I I didn't get to enjoy them until a much later age. So, but it was kind of fun to look and see this stuff. And to me, the biggest thing that stands out was that cartoon. I mean, that is the most 90s ridiculous G.I. Joe slapsticky, cheesy
could be,
lines.
It could almost
cartoon.
get hit for plagiarism with how much it's like G.I. Joe.
It's so cheesy, and I was like, "What?"
I love all the
what were
different-
the plots for Mr. Big were just what he wants to steal tomatoes,
yeah, that was great.
so nobody has pizza.
Great.
What?
What I really loved was all of the really terrible video game puns
Yeah.
that the bad guys would say to them. Too bad there's no pause button in this game. And I'm like, oh my, are you fucking
I
kidding
hope
me?
you brought an extra life. And
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
hope you brought an extra life as another one.
Oh boy,
Really terrible.
But anyways, yeah, check it out.
I just thought it was really fun, and
it was fun to.
if you're ever
For you to
bored-
share to me, that
if you're
was
ever
pretty fun.
bored and you're just like sitting at home and you're like, you know, I should check out Video Power. You're just gonna fucking love it.
Yeah,
especially if you're big into like nostalgic video games and the way. And what I love about the ones on YouTube is they included all of the broadcast commercials
Yep.
as well. And the first time I looked this back up for the show and I started watching them again, and the very first commercial came up that was for Kraft mac and cheese, I went, oh my God, I fucking remember this commercial.
See, I liked it when they were talking about like the guy, the one shot of the kid who can't get past a certain level, so he calls it up the company.
He calls up the 900 hotline.
Yeah. And it's like
1-900 hints.
Do you have 167 per minute? I was like,
$1.65 a minute. Get your parents' permission.
Jesus Christ.
I remember the Nintendo hotline too. That was like $2 a minute. I never called them, but my parents would have fucking killed me.
Oh yeah.
$2 a minute? They'd be like, sit here until you fucking figure it out. But the problem was,
Yeah.
most of the games in that time frame, a lot of them were fucking broken.
And obtuse.
And you could sit there forever, and it had nothing to do with logic. It was just like Castlevania.
Yeah, like Simon's Quest.
Simon's
Like-
Quest. Who would ever think that you walk to the wall, you break the last brick, and then you kneel for 5 seconds? Who would ever know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no
and then a
hint
tornado comes by, swoops you up, and
takes you to the other side of the wall. There's no hint about that.
Right.
You just had to like be bored enough to get that lucky and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of shit wasn't even in Nintendo Power.
Yep.
You know, because it was such an obscure game. So very fun stuff, but
Yeah.
kind of getting off track. But
No, but that was cool. It was. I mean, like I didn't watch it growing up, but now that I'm a huge video game enthusiast, looking
you
back,
can
it
go
was kinda
back
fun.
and really appreciate it for what it was. It was a step in the right direction for to bring video games into the mainstream.
Yeah.
like it really was.
I mean, the only thing I think that's why people sometimes now even have trouble looking at video games and taking them seriously because they think that's what video games are, and like they're not like that anymore. They're not
Right, because
kids
it
in
was
cartoons
just
running
about, now
around.
all the kids that were probably on that show are my age,
Right.
And they're still
They're
I would
probably
hope
still playing
games to this day.
Yeah, all types of them, and they're for everybody. And I like seeing a girl on there every once in a while. That's nice.
Very cool stuff.
All right, Steve, let's move on to the show. Oh, wait, before we do, let me tell you what I'm going to do next month.
Oh, is there another one next month?
Yeah, next month we're going to continue with this segment. We're going to talk about the toy that we had when we were kids, the CNC.
Man, I fucking love the CNC. Made my CNC say fuck a lot.
Cow goes moo.
Yeah,
It's a good song. It inspired a very good song, but what does the fox say?
I remember.
Let's move on to a few more segments here. Steve, let's pick a side.
Pick a side.
Alrighty then. So my pick a side this week, Susan Sarandon versus Deborah Messing.
Deborah Messing, my favorite person. She
Go-
was in The Wedding Date.
And what, Will and Grace? That's her?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was is Susan Sarandon made a statement because she is a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. Deborah Messing is a big Hillary Clinton supporter. And Susan Sarandon made an offhanded comment saying somebody asked her because they're having her on a lot of news shows for some reason. So one of the news pundits asked her what she thought of Trump, and she said, well, if we compare her to Hillary, something to the effect of, I would possibly consider Trump over Hillary, although. So Deborah Messing took issue with that, saying, Susan Sarandon goes to Twitter and goes, Susan Sarandon muses that Trump presidency would be better for the country than Hillary. Wonder if she'd say that if she were poor, gay, Muslim, or an immigrant. And then Susan Sarandon goes, watch the interview. Don't read the headlines. Right off the differences, I'm not retweeting attacks to you on 350,000 followers. Then jumping in are Kathy Najimy and Rosie O'Donnell. So the person from The King of the Hill.
I like this.
And the disgruntled lesbian get up there. So Kathy Najimy goes on Messing's side and says, you and I have, to Susan Sarandon, and says, you and I have marched together in pro-choice and pro-LGBT marches on Washington. How with any conscience even hint that you'd vote for Trump? And Susan Sarandon says, I don't hint. It's important to understand that principled people, especially environmentalists. Then Rosie O'Donnell goes, fracking and Monsanto. I agree. You are articulate, informed, passionate, inspirational as always. And then Susan Sarandon replies with a kissy face to Rosie O'Donnell. So, Steve,
That's fantastic.
Susan Sarandon supports Bernie Sanders, but may consider Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. Deborah Messing doesn't like that very much and wants Hillary Clinton as the president. But who do you pick during this argument, Susan Sarandon versus Deborah Messing?
Man,
Pick a side.
so one wants Trump and one wants Hillary.
One wants Bernie Sanders first and foremost. Then said, in comparison to Hillary, I may consider Trump.
I would take Trump over Hillary.
Okay.
I would.
Now, as far as this argument goes, so you would pick Susan Sarandon then?
I would have to because, well, first of all, I have to be on her side just because she likes Bernie. She's
Oh, she's a big Bernie.
a woman
Big
after
Bernie
my own
supporter.
heart. Loves Bernie. I love Bernie. I would go with Susan.
Okay. I also will pick Susan Sarandon here. Now, the reason why...
We're just a bunch of Clinton haters up in here.
Well, no, here's the reason why. I feel like she was unfairly attacked because, hey, if you don't vote for Hillary Clinton, you hate women. That's what I feel like they were kind of saying.
That's what Deborah Messing was
and I'm
saying,
like,
yes.
that's not true. Like, come on now, you know? So...
But you wouldn't say that if you were gay and you were stroking it on the internet.
And Rosie O'Donnell was like, even Rosie O'Donnell...
Fracking.
Yeah, I don't know what she was saying, but she was just on here like, I'm Rosie O'Donnell, and I have an opinion.
I don't know. Rosie O'Donnell just stood back on Twitter and was like, troll!
Well, she ain't vote for Trump.
No,
we know that
she
one.
certainly isn't, but...
What a weird group of people to come in together. Why is Kathy and Jimmy in there?
I don't know, but I do agree with Susan Sarandon. If I have to pick the two evils,
Which it always is.
when it comes down to
It
Trump,
always is.
when it comes down to Trump and Hillary, dude, I would totally vote for Trump.
That's
I mean,
what
it's not
she was saying
it's not an
I don't
ideal
know.
situation.
She said I would consider it. She didn't even say. She just says I'd have to consider it, which is not even like an endorsement. It's like maybe. Jesus
No,
Christ.
it comes down to like, do I want a bigot or do I want a criminal as my president? And at the end of the day, like, you call some people some names, I'll join in with you. It's fine. I'm going to go with Trump. So there you go.
But anyways, now I felt like Sarandon got a little too much hate for not being with the woman, and I'm like, vote for who you want to vote for. It doesn't make you sexist or anything.
No, you will vote for who I want you to vote for, or I'm unfriending you.
Basically the point.
You big jerk. Big jerk.
I also like how Susan Sarandon handled it. I think she handled it very maturely. She wasn't like, oh, whatever.
Well,
Petty
Susan Sarandon's a very mature woman.
about it. Oh, yes, she is.
Oh, there we
That's what
go.
I'm saying. Deborah Messing's cute, though. I will say
She
that.
is. She was
She's
in the
good
wedding
looking.
date.
Out of all four of these, totally fucks you.
I'm going with Rosie.
You would fuck Rosie O'Donnell? I don't think
No,
she...
that's probably a
You
lie.
should probably jerk off in front of Rosie, So
I would.
give her a little taste of that.
But Rosie wouldn't like that.
I know.
I'd have to be pushing it. I can't be pulling it.
Remember when she hosted Kids' Choice Awards and everybody loved her? And then
Yeah, I do. She was on Nickelodeon a lot back in the 90s.
And then she went insane. She had that crush on Tom Cruise.
I mean, she just got older. I mean, I've learned to accept that, people don't get crazier as they get older. That's just part of getting older.
But
You just get more and more insane.
what happened?
I'm okay with that.
Anyways, get on Twitter. We'll put it up on Friday as we always do.
Who side are you on, Susan Sarandon? Deborah Messing. Remember, Deborah Messing was in the wedding date.
Steve,
I'm just going to leave that right here for you.
2 more shows. What are you doing
We got
next?
2 more shows.
2 more shows.
I can't do any more of this.
Okay, and hey, this is Austin Daniels, and I'm here with
And
Steve
scene.
Navels.
There we are.
All right, we got 2 more segments left.
Hey, let me tell you what. There is some kids out there who got some tattoos last week, but it's not in a traditional sense. We're going to make it weird.
Make it weird.
Coming to us out of the great state of Texas.
Texas, all
Story
right.
taking place in Texas.
I know some people from Texas.
Texas mother is in hot water after police say she allowed a sex offender to tattoo her 3 young children while she was intoxicated.
Oh, man.
San Antonio Express reports that 31-year-old Ashley Nicole Weir has been charged with 3 counts of, and I didn't know that this was a crime, so I'm going to say it slow.
Okay.
Tattoos prohibited for certain persons. That's what she has been charged.
That sounds like a really racist or ageist or sexist.
Yeah.
What's
Let me
a
tell
certain
you
person?
what's prohibited for certain
Very
persons.
offensive. Very offensive.
So that's what she's been charged with. Police found out about the alleged illegal tattooing after Weird's 13-year-old son tipped off his father. The publication obtained an arrest warrant that said Weird's son told his father they had a surprise for him and that he might not like it. Well, at least it wasn't a dick.
Oh.
The
no.
father
Oh,
arrived and found
no.
his ex reportedly passed out drunk in bed and all 3 children bearing new tattoos. The report said that the 9-year-old girl had a heart and arrow tattoo on her right ankle. The 10-year-old daughter had a cross and an infinity symbol on her left ankle. And the 13-year-old boy had a cross permanently inked on his right ankle. So these are all ankle tattoos, and they're all really stupid tattoos.
Yeah,
These are the ones that they got off.
The heart thing is what? Isn't that like a?
Dude, this is so trashy.
Gonna put a name on that.
They got these right out of the book.
Yeah.
I hate people that go into a tattoo
So
shop
it's
and get stuff out of
cross,
the book.
Infinity,
Unless it's
heart,
on special.
And what's the other one? What was the other one?
We had the heart, we had the infinity, and then the boy got a cross.
Oh, just the cross.
So, all very generic tattoos. Anyway, so quit your bitching. The children reportedly told authorities their mother told them to, quote, not to cry and whine about when it hurts. Police learned that the kids were inside the home with their mother, her boyfriend, and her brother, who is a convicted sex offender.
Jesus.
Weir reportedly has a past criminal history. According to Fox 7, she's been arrested 3 times for driving while intoxicated, and on 2 other occasions when she's taken in for public intoxication. She's currently being held on a $15,000 bond and could face up to 3 years behind bars.
What was this woman's name again?
Her name was Ashley Nicole Weir.
Killing it, Ashley.
Just so
Kids
awesome.
were being babies. I mean,
They're being a bunch of fucktards.
You had your tattoo.
Yeah.
You didn't cry.
And you know what?
You only cried a little bit.
I cried and whined, but you know what? It's on their ankles. It
And you
doesn't
still
hurt
gotta-
that bad.
And you got a lollipop
Quit
after,
your
right?
bitching, you know? And like I said at the beginning of the story, they're being tattooed by this sex offender. It's not like he made them touch his wiener in front of a webcam.
Could have been worse.
Could have been way worse.
Yeah. So he's not touching wieners.
I don't
Not that there's
understand.
anything wrong with that.
Look, I'm just saying, it's not your typical way of getting a tattoo, and especially if you're 9 years old. I'm going to go out on a limb and say henna is probably as far as you want to go for that age.
I want to know what the end game was. Like, what did the parents
The
have
mom
to
got so drunk, and she was like, hey, Bill. You know what would be funny? And Bill's there, like, tugging it on her couch because he's a sex offender. He's like, what? Yeah, what? Tell me what would be funny. And she was like, if we gave the kids tattoos. And he was probably like, oh, that's a great idea.
So I guess, like, are the kids going to keep them? Like, I guess they do. Like, it hurts to take them off, right?
It hurts worse to get it
Right.
removed.
So I guess you're going to have this memory of this.
So this 13-year-old kid now has to live with this generic cross tattoo on his right ankle.
Yeah, and then, like,
Lame.
have this, like, weird memory. So every time he looks at his ankle, he's like, oh, that's the time the sexual offender decided to write a tattoo on my ankle.
That's just, it makes for a great story. Like, imagine when he's in
that's not
college.
great.
It's like, what's the craziest thing that ever happened
That's
to you? And you're like,
awful.
a sex offender tattooed my
beat.
ankle.
Gotcha beat, Doug.
Wait till you hear this one. Let
Yeah, remember that night you had that threesome? Well, Doug.
me tell you about the time this guy who had 3 prior sex convictions tattooed my ankle.
Steve, end the show.
That's guy, man, it's such a weird story. Anyway, speaking of, not so weird, just more annoying. And, I think in the next segment, people are going to scrutinize a lot because, if you're going through this right now, if your parents are helping you financially, you're in your late 20s, early 30s, you're going to think that I'm a dick. But let me tell you, what's happening in a situation like that is not okay. And I'm going to tell you why in the last word.
The last word.
Look, we all know that for the past 8 years, the economy has not been in the best of places.
No, it is not.
We can probably say with
Thanks,
a
Obama.
pretty firm confidence that things aren't going very well
Thanks, Obama.
financially for a lot
Thanks,
of
Obama.
people. And he's going to keep saying it. It was a mess before Obama came in.
Thanks, Obama.
And yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with him. Thanks, Obama. But anyway,
Yeah, well, it has a better ring than thanks,
it's a
Bush.
very, very difficult time to be a person in your 20s and 30s. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether your family is pretty well financially off, that doesn't really make you financially well off. Okay? And I have this fantastic article written by Peter Dunn for usatoday.com, and it's titled An Open Letter to Parents Who Financially Support Adult Children. And I'm not going to go through this line by line because I'll let
He's only released part 1.
Yeah.
You should know.
But yeah, this guy basically says that he writes this not from a place of judgment, but instead to address an immense concern with great clarity. The financial support that you offer to your adult children is toxic. You're hurting them, and you're hurting yourself. And until you realize that it's not money they need, everyone involved feels the pain. And he has this great analogy in the article about how, remember when you taught your child how to ride a bicycle for the first time? You had the training wheels on it, you had your arms on their shoulders, and you guided them. And when you felt that they got the concept of it, you let them go. And you still kept the training wheels on, and you watched, and lo and behold, they were able to do it by themselves. Then you take the next step, you pull the training wheels off. And then you put your shoulders on them to make sure that they can understand the concept of balance. And then, as hard as it is, at some point you have to let go. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to fall. And it's going to hurt. And they're going to cry. Right? But the only way that they can learn to not fall is to fall. And they can understand, wow, that hurt and it fucking sucked dick and I don't want to have to go through that again. So you let the kid go, they fall, they learn to carry themselves so that it doesn't happen again. And the same is true in the world of finances. If you don't let your child go and fail and understand what it's like to go without and how they have to budget their money and how they have to pay for things to be a productive member of society, they're never going to get it. They're never going to understand what it means to have a budget or to be financially successful in their own right. Mm-hmm. You know? So the article goes on to talk about assuming that you're now 20 or 30 something and you can ride your own bike without training wheels, the primary elements of bike riding achievement. If you're still supporting your adult child, your absence will lead to their success, not your financial support. You have to remove yourself from the situation. So I know that I'm not trying to sound, because I'm speaking from a place of personal experience, and I'm just saying the people that I know, a couple of women who will remain nameless, that I know personally,
Barbara.
are
don't know anybody
in their
Barbara.
late 20s or early 30s. They have a full-time job making an okay salary in the $40,000-ish a year, that live with their parents, that have been given a car, don't have to pay for it. They have groceries paid for. They have utilities paid for. And they take this $40-some thousand a year check that they get from their salary, and they go on these lavish trips, and they buy anything they want with no consequence, because why not? Money is no object. It's not a necessity to life. It's just a thing that you have. And this drives me fucking bonkers. And it's not because my family is super poor, which, you know, I don't come from money. Let's just say that. Okay. My parents are not able to financially support me, but even if they could, what does that make you look like in the eyes of either your friends, your peers, a potential mate, you know, somebody that you would like to date? It makes you look incompetent. It makes you look weak. It makes you look like you can't do things for yourself. And those are not, in my opinion, okay? Like I said, this is just me talking. Everybody else can think completely different. You can think I'm a fucking asshole, but
We already do, so.
everybody already does.
You
So I'm
fucking
just going to
suck.
go ahead and just drive the nails in further and say, to me, those are not redeeming qualities in a person. And say I'm hypothetical world, we're moving into the hypothetical world now.
Okay.
Say I'm dating a woman. But
you
that would
date
never
men.
happen.
I mean, clearly you wrote
Say
about your
I'm dating
boyfriend,
a
Jason.
Yeah, I mean Jason's my boyfriend, but say I'm dating a woman, and I come to find out that she's the same age as me, 31 years old, and she still lives at home, and her parents they don't make her pay rent, they don't make her pay for her utilities, they don't make her pay for her cell phone, and for some reason, like, she's always able to anything that we ever want to do. She's like, oh, we'll go to the movies, and then we'll go shopping, and then we'll go ice skating. And I'm like, where are you getting all this money? And then it hits me. You have no concept of what it means to watch your money and be responsible and be a responsible person. And there is nothing in the stage in my life that I'm at now where I am so fucking broke, it's not even funny. For me to still be as productive as I am,
You
and
should find a way.
you find a way, and it's called responsibility.
Yeah.
And if you're going to keep bailing your kids out from every financial situation, and it could be something stupid. Like, I know a lot of people that if their kids can't afford if they can't afford a vacation that they want to go on, they're like, oh, it's fine. They don't loan them the $500 to go. They give it to them with no expectation for payback. How is your child, who is no longer a child, this is an active person in society, how are they ever going to learn anything? The value of $1, something that you should learn when you're fucking 13 years old. How are you going to learn when everything's just handed to you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I've experienced going back. I've experienced the similar situation with the quote unquote girl. I know you date men,
Quote unquote.
but I was dating a girl and she lived at home, had everything paid for and stuff like that, and still was mad at me because I didn't have as much money as they. Just like, well, I don't have all this disposable income like you. I don't know. I mean, there's a balance to it. It's like, I understand. It's like, hey, I got into trouble and you need to borrow some money every once in a while. And sometimes if a parent can do it, they can do it. But you should always have a plan to pay, your parents. Yeah, that happens. But if it's like an emergency, it's like, oh shit, this, I don't know, some big
Check it out.
emergency.
My house is on fire.
Yeah, could I borrow $400 to fix this?
To put the fire out.
Yeah, or whatever it is. You know
gotta
what I'm
pay the fire
saying?
department,
Right, yeah, or some crazy thing. You know what I'm saying? But when it's like coming down to shit like, oh, buy my lunch, buy my this,
I
buy
need
my
new
this.
shoes. I need a new outfit. It's
And I was taught that very early. It's like, hey, you want the PlayStation? Well, you can pay for that. It's if you want the PlayStation, you earn up and save money and you do that. You can have it, but you have to pay for it. So I think I think a lot of folks, I think the trend is different if folks worked at an earlier age and understood what a paycheck was and how to balance that out,
Right.
as opposed to people that have never, their first job in their life, and they come out of college and they just start work and they just go, oh, well,
Well, I guess I
not
don't ever
paying
have to
rent.
move. I guess I don't ever have to move out of my parents' house, and
Yeah.
I can just keep doing this and make all this money and buy this fancy car, and all of my income is disposable because I can just do whatever I want and I never have to worry.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm sure this, because I have openly admitted, like, hey, my parents couldn't help me even if they wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, we don't.
Not everybody's like
we
that,
We
yeah.
just can't. And people are gonna be like, well, you're just jealous. You're just jealous these people that are. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is this type of behavior makes you less of a productive person, and I don't understand why you're okay with just having things handed to you.
I don't know.
What happened to the etiquette of feeling proud?
Yeah.
And feeling like you've accomplished something. If everything is just fucking handed to you, there is no feeling of that higher status of, I did something for myself and it feels good, and you appreciate things.
Yeah.
100% more.
I just did that now. I mean, in a weird way, like I had the car, the older car that was breaking down.
Remember
all
the car
time.
story? Remember we took the car phone call a couple
Yeah,
weeks
exactly.
ago?
That's no more. But that car was basically given to me.
he got rid of that
after
phone ages ago.
After a little bit, after my, we had it for a little bit, and it was given to me basically. But I was like just coming out of, I think a year. It was my last year of college. He said, we're going to get you something. It had a ton of miles on it. It had like 80,000 when it was given to me. And that way I could get to work.
See,
and get to
these
where I
are
needed to
these
go.
are not the things I'm talking
No.
about. I'm not talking about like a hand-me-down car. I'm talking about the people
Right.
that are driving
Yeah,
that are driving around in
my
a
parents
2016
never went, hey,
luxury sedan.
What do you want? So let's go. It was never like that. It was like, hey, this is to get you to work, and we're going to get you off started okay. But you're going to pay for the insurance, all that other stuff you're going to pay for. And then now that I just got my new, but of course my mentality a little bit was not as, oh, I love this car, because I didn't love the car. I'm pretty indifferent on it, but I didn't. But now that I just got a new Hyundai Accent, everybody just got a new car finally. Now I'm all like, oh boy, I better
Plug-in
take care
Hyundai.
of this. Now I have a car payment, all this other stuff. It's so, whenever I'm like, I appreciate that because I bought it. It's mine. It feels good that I did it. And now I really want to take care of it and make it my own. And I feel like when you have your parents' hands in it or somebody else's hands in it, you can't make it your own. And maybe that's a little selfish, but I think it's also self-rewarding, as you were implying earlier.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm talking about.
Now, going back to the article,
Sure.
Peter goes on to say, in most cases I've seen of parents supporting adult children, the child isn't allowed to fail because the parent either doesn't want their child to experience temporary discomfort, or the parent doesn't want to admit that they, as parents, have failed.
Well, that wouldn't be a failure.
Regular payments start to feel like penances when your child lacks the skills to limit their expenses based on their income. That, as much as your failure as it is theirs, guilt sets in, checks are written, nothing is solved.
Right. Correct. So,
And like I said,
that's like touching the stove or falling off the monkey
everything
bars.
about this article I 100% agree with. I don't care that you can afford to do it as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching your children you're just teaching them improper values. And it's not me saying this, it's from a societal standpoint.
Yeah. I feel like people are too complacent.
We are getting, like, our generation, myself and Austin's generation, is getting this stigma that we're fucking lazy, worthless,
It's true.
good for nothing people that just want everything handed to us. And guess what?
It's true, though.
It's not only because we accept it, it's because you're willing to give it. And you need to fucking stop.
That's true too. I see a lot of it, and I find, and this sort of crosses into the dating scene, but I don't want to say it as much. If somebody isn't in that place anymore, it isn't in an adult place, I don't find them attractive. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I started out going there, and I should have saved that for later because that's not my.
I don't want to take
my
that direction.
It's
I'm
not
just
my
saying this
initial
is
intent
side-
here. Like
Me
I
neither,
don't
me
even
neither.
give a fuck about.
But there's plenty of dudes out there as well, as
Yeah.
you know, because you love dating dudes
There's lots of
that don't have
men.
jobs, and that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
there
no.
are men in their
that
20s.
matters.
There are men in their 20s that are the same way. They've graduated from college, but they went to an in-state or in-town college.
They're living in the parents'
They're living in
basement.
their parents' basement. They're playing Call of Duty, and
That's fun. It's fun when you're in high school.
They have absolutely no ambition.
I mean, I'll tell you that. I lived in
do
the basement,
anything.
played video games made a paycheck and set. But let me tell you this: the one of the final things that really got me going was when I was getting older. My parents were like, "Hey, if we're gonna pay for stuff, my rules under my roof. That's how it's gonna be." And I was like, I don't like these rules. These rules suck. So I'm going to find every way to get out and live on my own so I can make my own rules. And that motivated me to do it. But if you let your kid do whatever they want, then what's the difference? Then it's like, hey, all right.
There's no consequence. There's nothing left. You have none of the power, and you're
Right.
paying the price. And like I said, you're just creating a bigger problem. You have to look at the whole picture, and you have to understand you're doing more harm than good. You need to stop fucking financially supporting your adult child. There are times, and the article even says this, and I do agree with this, that he would be remiss not to acknowledge scenarios where financial support is not only warranted, but it's necessary.
Right.
If there is a fucking major problem, like a safety concern that they need
Absolutely.
help with. Yeah, and you know what?
But then even make a plan to pay them back.
In a
that's-
situation like that, like my dad has helped me before, and
Yeah.
has found, like, he's got no money, but he's found a way to help me. Just like, and you know what? I pay him back.
Yeah,
You know, I can't live feeling like I owe somebody something.
me neither.
It's a very stressful way to live, but you have to keep checks and balances, and you have to understand that nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you a fucking thing. You have to earn everything that is yours. And I'm sorry, that's just the way that I feel. Sorry, not sorry, don't care.
Until then, go to 7-Eleven, buy a bunch of scratch-off tickets, and maybe you'll get out of it so you don't have to ask for your parents.
Or you could be like me, just go on XTube and jerk off in front of a webcam for $100 a scene. Hot done. Hot deal.
What are we? Anyways, get on Bad Culture.
Get on Bad Culture Crew on Twitter. Tell me if I'm way off base. Do you think that I'm a dick for telling people to stop mooching off their parents when they're in their fucking 30s and to start living their own life?
I think folks need to hear it, and I think the mentality needs to change. And I hope our audience is somewhat similar to us, because you and I have talked about this off
You
camera.
are giving our generation a bad name
Right.
by just accepting this. And not only accepting it, but you're glorifying it.
Yeah, let's-
by just using all your disposable income on this useless shit that you didn't fucking earn and you don't need.
But you do need a PlayStation 4. That's important. You got to have that.
So
in your
go
life.
buy one immediately.
Yes. Don't pay rent. Buy a PlayStation 4.
Anyway,
What are we doing next?
this is episode
month?
49. I'm very excited to say next week, episode 50.
Guess what we got planned?
will be
Nothing.
50, and I don't think we have a single fucking special thing planned, and that's okay. I'm not really worried about it.
We did a
But
bunch of special things.
You should come back next week because Austin will be giving us his Girl Logic for the month, which is one of our newest segments. I know that I've got some pretty positive reviews on the first one.
Did you really?
Very entertaining, very funny. Just
Oh, my.
because you can't take it too seriously. Like, we're just bringing
Girls, you can't take them
you
seriously.
can't take them seriously.
Come on now.
I was
Dudes all the way.
I was referring to the segment, but sure,
Girls,
refer to women, can't take them seriously.
Thank you.
Anyway, come back for that and so much more as the Bad Culture Crew rolls on.
Thank you for listening to Bad Culture Crew. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check your feed every Thursday for a new episode. Be sure to stay connected with the crew on social media. We're at Bad Culture Crew on Twitter, the Bad Culture Crew Facebook page, and of course on badculturegroupproductions.com. We are pleased to bring you the best of the worst. Because at Bad Culture Crew, we find the terrible so you don't have to.